Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. In this week's episode, we are talking about teamwork and friendship. I am really excited to be joined once again by Brianna Silvio and Jenny Porter, another familiar face to the podcast, and we are continuing our month-long curated sponsorship brought to you by Bri from Elevated Impressions, and we are talking about elevating the industry together. This industry can get lonely, it can get frustrating, it can be isolating, because not many people understand what we do. So she and Jenny have created not only a friendship, I would say a support system where they support each other from different countries with different businesses. And sometimes that is through text messages. Sometimes it's in person on a large job. So we are talking about developing those deep friendships in the balloon industry and what they can do to help elevate your business. So if you are not familiar with Bri, let me reintroduce you to her. Brianna Silvio is the driving force behind Elevated Impressions, the burgeoning balloon decor and event rental business, and now a promising founder of Be Wise Consulting, ready to launch her first small business product, all based in picturesque Cape Cod, Massachusetts. In just a few short years since founding her business in 2019 from her home basement, Brianna has not only elevated thousands of events across multiple New England states, but she has also built a dedicated team of full-time and seasonal staff. Her passion for creating efficient systems and her commitment to community involvement have made her a respected leader and philanthropist in her field. But that's not all. Bri has earned numerous accolades, including the Spirit of ILEA Award and the SCORE Small Business Excellence Award, just to name a few. She is also a sought-after speaker and educator, sharing her expertise at events like Batalic Balloonathon and Balloon Boss Summit. Join us as we dive into Bri's incredible story, her insights on entrepreneurship, and her unwavering dedication to uplifting her community. And stay tuned, because at the end of this episode, both Bri and Jenny are going to talk about some of those opportunities that you will have to learn from them in person. They have a lot coming up in the next year. And these are two of my favorites. They're great women. They're great for our industry. They're just great at what they do. And they're better together. I'm going to say that. They have a really fun episode. You can hear their friendship. And I think they give some actual practical tips. If you don't have a friendship like this, if you don't have a support system, like I said, it can get lonely. It can get frustrating. There are people you need to bounce ideas off of, and it's really a great resource to have someone that you can call, not only for ideas, but for an extra set of hands if you get a large job. During the release of this episode, actually, I will have 10 people, Jenny is one of them, in my hometown creating a really large installation that I could not do with the help of other balloon professionals. So I think relationships, professional connections, and friendships are so undervalued in our industry. And I'm really glad that Bri thought to bring you this episode. So let's take a quick break and head over to the U Glue hotline for some great advice that sticks, and then get into this week's episode with Bri from Elevated Impressions once again, and Jenny Porter from Three Sparrows Balloons. Welcome to the U Glue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks, brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Laura. I am owner of Partinista Events located in Los Angeles, California. And first of all, I just wanted to start off by saying, Sarah, that how much I appreciate your podcast. I have learned so much, and the resources that you share have just helped me so much along my journey in being a balloon business owner. So thank you so much for sharing all that wealth of information. And my little tip today is that if you ever use the glue dashes, the glue dots, and it's hard for you to remove them from a surface like a backdrop or the ceiling. Something that I found that works versus trying to like use my fingernails to take them off because they have such strong adhesion is that I use another glue dot to tap on top of the one that's stuck on the ceiling or on the backdrop, and it helps pull it off the backdrop. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically using another glue dot to remove the glue dot that's stuck on your backdrop or your ceiling or any surface, that'll help remove it versus like trying to use your fingers because the adhesion, as we all know, is so strong on the U-glue dashes. So, yeah, that was my tip. I wanted to say that, and thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.
Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on U-Glue when you buy directly from Having a Party using code BRIGHT at checkout. All right, welcome to this episode. We have two returning guests, Bri, who is sponsored the entire month, so you'll hear from her several times, and Jenny, who is back again. I know you both fairly well. You know each other very well, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But give us an introduction of who you each are and a little bit about your businesses.
I'm Bri from Elevated Impressions, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and this is my friend Jenny.
I guess I don't have to wave, but I did anyways. It's really
They
awkward.
can't see you.
I'm Jenny Porter, and I'm a solo business owner in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, and I own Three Sparrows Balloons up north.
And you've both had episodes before, which we will link to if people want to hear more about you individually. But today we're talking about you together as a team and how you work together, even though you live in different countries, you have different businesses, but you kind of pull each other when you need support, whether that's on the job or as a friend or when you're teaching. We're going to talk about all of those things. But first, how'd you two meet?
We met at Balloon Wonderland in 2022 in Orlando, and it was my very first experience in like the balloon world. I
Oh,
was
interesting.
a COVID business, so I didn't know who anyone was, and I didn't know anyone besides we actually shut down our entire business to go. So we took our whole team
Wow.
and to volunteer to be there for the week. And yeah, so essentially I showed up not knowing a soul.
Did you
And
leave with COVID?
I didn't leave with COVID. The rest of my team did, but I left with a full heart and new friends. And legitimately, you'll hear me say this all the time. I was like the no new friends. Like I have plenty of friends. We have a balloon team. Like we're gonna go do this and see what we can bring back to the Cape. Like going into it thinking that there were going to be friendships made was just not at all on my purview
Oh,
whatsoever.
interesting. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I would assume that was a huge investment to bring your team, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna learn, not play.
Yeah, it was a huge investment. And then we had Lauren from our team who was taking the CBA. So that was part of the goal of getting her there. But our community, once we did the press releases, really rallied around us. And people were asking, they donated money so that we could buy meals every day.
Oh, that's
And
great.
yeah, we had a lot of support. And even while we were there was a day that there was kind of like a lull in the morale. And so I just sent out a message to a bunch of people and was like, please send us video messages just encouraging us. And so there a bunch of people sent these video messages. So I just walked around the team and like showed them like we're supported, we have love. And everyone was like, you guys are great. We're so proud of you. Like
Oh,
it
that's
was
so
really
cool.
cool. Yeah. But anyway, so I was assigned to Team Dino, and then my captain was Miss Jenny Porter.
I think it's the opposite because when you already are in the balloon industry and you have that, like, you know what you're getting yourself into when you go to these types of things, you're ready to make friends and you're ready to like meet new people and see your like, because I'd say some of the balloon industry people, like Bri, yourself included, Sarah, like you're excited to see your people when you get there. So
Yeah.
you're just like, yes. Because sometimes those people are closer than the people you're at home with. So
Mm-hmm.
like it's such a funny world to go to. But when I remember meeting Bri the first time, and so Dory, Saypool, and I were like the assistant captains or whatever. So Jill Shortreed, Liz Romani, they were like the captains, and then we were like the minion captains. And Jill Shortreed gave me a task, and so I I'm like, okay, she's like, you need to find people to like be in charge of a group of people. I'm like, oh, I don't know any of these people, so let me go like see how they work.
Yeah,
And Bree was like, she just started leading all these people that she doesn't know. And I was like, that girl, that girl's our girl.
that's funny.
I was like, she is going to keep the morale up here and
You're
she's
like
going to
that
make this
stranger who already has these people in a huddle up at 8 a.m. giving them instruction.
okay. It's like stop it. And so, but she was so like kind and like thankful to be there. And her one of her workers, Sarah, was like on the team too, I think. And
Yeah.
so they just seemed so happy. And our team really was like annoyingly happy. So
You were,
like,
didn't you have like matching hats?
yeah, I think it was really annoying to the other groups, but we were just like super all super excited
Yeah.
to be there. And then at the end of it, when I saw Bree met one of the mothers of the one of the Give Kids the World.
Yeah, one of the Give Kids the World moms had come through.
Gotcha.
And the kindness that Bree showed that woman who had lost a child and we were building this section for, and she just took the time to talk to I was just like, man, like what a great person. Like, and I think for me, that kind of stuff is just so important. Like you just don't see that type of kindness always. So after that time, like we just kind of clicked and it became this really great friendship. Which I think is a really lucky thing in life to find those types of friends.
Well, Bree, you lose. We
But
are like 4 minutes in and you're crying.
so, sorry, talk about how we met for a
No,
second.
don't.
One
No.
thing is that I think that night, the night that we got to have that dance,
Oh
and
yeah,
what are the owners of Qualitex? Betty
Ted and
and
Betty.
Ted and Betty are doing this mass like dance on the dance floor, and we're all just like chalking it up, like dancing with Ted. And I was like, these are people.
Yeah,
Just like I don't drink, but like when you can have fun with people that don't drink and you're just like having the best time of your life, you're just like, yeah. Like
Yeah.
her other people, like Lauren is like Speedy's the best. So like it's just you're getting the full group, right?
Yeah. Our
Yeah.
team, our team, we call it
Yeah.
the core four, and it's like Rudy, Lauren, Sarah, and myself. It's kind of like where the business started, and we're all still there. And we are close, but we also that was a very serious experience for us. Like we closed down our brand new business for 10 days. We all left our families to go, fly to Florida, and it was nothing that anyone had ever done. And we received a soft landing on the other end of it with all of these amazing people that make up this balloon world. So it was just so special. So we were just sponges. We were there to like give and take and just
I don't think people realize when you put yourself out there in in the balloon world that you're going to get so much more from it in friendships and like because there's nothing more joyful than balloons and I think people say that all the time but it's the people
yeah,
because you're learning you are a sponge and you're doing all these things and you're just like every time I go to one of these events, and I think people always say, Jenny, you go to everything, and I do. Um, it's because I love it. I love the
yeah,
people. It's so much fun. Like it when you can bring that happiness home, then I'm sure for my family, it's like probably great too. Just continue to be happy instead of being like a 9 to 5er, which is fine for some people. It just wasn't fine for me. So
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. I think of like, well, what's my exit plan here? Like, will I sell my business? Will I, close it up? And I just feel like I'm gonna be like this 80-year-old woman who's like, I don't really do balloons anymore, but I just love coming to these events. Like all my friends are there. Like it's my social outlet. It's like, especially
yeah,
my husband and I, we have two little kids, so we're kind of in this season of like separate vacations because like doing it with the whole family, it's like, well, I don't know. Like he wants to go to Vegas. I want to go to balloon convention. let's just be okay with that and do separate things and we can kind of tag team the kids and like that's just kind of what we do. So I have like my 2 vacations a year where I get to go to, balloon things and then little classes in between. But like I love it. Like I can't imagine leaving the people, the community.
Yeah, agreed.
Even the people I don't like, I'm just like, it's like a dysfunctional family. You're like, yeah, that's like the weird uncle that like
Yeah,
you
crazy
don't
Uncle
really
Larry.
like, but like he's always here and you get along and
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah,
fine.
totally, totally.
It's like you just know how people are going to behave. Um, okay, so there's a lot of ways where you guys collaborate, kind of a broad term, and kind of off the top of my head, friendship, uh, actually working together, like on the job, and then supporting each other when you teach and when you travel. So let's start with friendship. You kind of talked about how you met, how you formed this relationship, this friendship, but you live in different countries, and I would imagine you talk about business quite a bit. Like, do you think your friendship bleeds over into almost like a co-mentorship?
Yeah, I think that's probably the
That's a great way to
perfect
put it.
way to
Yeah.
put it is a co-mentorship. I'm newer in the industry than Jenny is, and Jenny has so much experience teaching and educating.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my end goal,
Yeah.
beyond business ownership, was to be an educator in the industry. And so when I got my first opportunity through Batalic to teach, Jenny was the person I went to that I was like, I look up to you, I admire you. Like I think I spoke about her more than I spoke to her for a couple years,
Mm.
honestly. If anyone, whoever would listen, I'd be like, Jenny Porter is just like, the best as far as I'm concerned in teaching and creativity and being able to share her gifts so clearly with the industry. So when I got that opportunity, I went straight to her and I was like, here are my ideas, what do you think? Am I crazy? And she's been really good about encouraging my perspective because
Hmm.
it's different than hers.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. You have very different businesses. So, like, do you ever butt heads? I could see Bri, you being like, you got to hire a manager. You need to expand. You need to grow. I mean, I don't know. I'm putting words in your mouth. But then Jenny and I feel like we're kind of aligned in like, small's good. Like, I like to take what I
Yes.
take and make as much as I need. And like, I don't want to manage the staff. Like, do you ever butt heads on any of that stuff?
So
No.
I think for us it's just like and for me in general, I'm pretty laid back. Like I've always called myself like a yes man. So if someone says, I want to be a teacher, I'm like, yes, what do we need to do to make that happen? And I think in our industry, it's like this weird, like kept secret, like how to be an
Yes.
instructor. Like it's so
It's
weird.
it's a huge mystery. I had someone who was a mentor. Dennis Scott was my mentor. He's still like one of my best friends. And he was the one who's like, here's how float works. Here are the brands that have
Yes.
teachers. If you're an instructor, here's kind of what's expected. Like, you have no idea. And there's all these unwritten rules that, like, well, I broke them all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they're not really rules. I don't know. I'm always like, whatever. But it is a bit of a mystery. And there are people listening who, like, secretly, they want to be instructors, but they
Of
don't
course
know
they
how to
do.
pursue that.
Yeah. And then also when you get those opportunities, I think that as we are such a social media driven industry, we see other people having opportunities. And then I think it's very commonplace to become envious or start to create your own goals, seeing other people's successes within the industries. But you don't understand what it actually takes to be an instructor. So, for the Balloonathon, I taught two separate classes on two separate days. But the prep that went into creating those classes and creating the product list and creating the presentations and the recipes that everyone gets to see, that's tens of hours of work
On the front
on the
end.
front end before you
Hmm.
even walk through
Yeah.
those doors. So I'm super type A, but Jenny also is able to say, like, here's what I've done in the past. And I'm able to say, okay, so you present all these separate things. And yeah, now I want to do it the best that it can be done.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I get those tips from people. Like I can remember when Melissa Vincent is the person that's I would say my mentor for becoming an instructor. And I remember saying like, what should I do for this? And she's like, always have one thing extra.
Hmm.
She's like, because if you run out of time, you need just one last thing that you can pull together and be like, there you go.
I
I've
love
made my
Melissa
last
Vincent as an instructor.
15 minutes.
She's so good.
So then those are the little things that you can pass on. Those are the nuggets, right? Like, because at the end of the day, like you can help someone so far, but it's those nuggets that will push them through those last 15 minutes so you don't cut it too early and then you never get that opportunity again because you can't, she can't even speak for 90 minutes. Well, no,
Mm-hmm.
like, sometimes you just talk too fast or you're excited and you miss half your presentation or like there's just so many, none of us are meant to be speaker. Maybe Bri is actually. She's like a motivational speaker on the side, I think. So I think for when someone asks, like Bri asks, like, what should I do for this? I'm like, oh, let me pass on those nuggets, right? Like, here's the great things that I've learned from these great industrial like standards, like Melissa Vincent, Chris Adamo, like those people to me sit on a pedestal.
Mhm. And I'm on my end getting those little nuggets and like taking notes and writing like, be sure to have pictures at end of presentation. Be sure
Yeah.
to, you know,
Yeah, Bree's way more literal. Like I'm just I'm a winger. I wing things a little bit more. Bree is very like it's fantastic. She's like, here's what you need to wear to this conference. And it's a full list. I'm
like
like,
a packing list
thank
per
you.
day.
Thank you, friend.
At Balloon Boss, we had my booth, which was
Oh
like
yeah.
all packed up and everything was laid out and labeled with sticky notes. And then we had Jenny's booth, which was like creative mastery,
It's just
like
like
everything
a storm of chaos.
Yeah,
and
I need everything
creativity.
spread out. I need to see everything. And I'm just
Yeah,
like, how I don't understand. So I think opposites do kind of attract. It's good to get those
totally.
two, different perspectives. Let's take a quick break and then I want to hit on the instructor stuff more just because we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it's a lot to teach. So I'm curious how you guys kind of support each other in that role as well. So we'll take a quick
Cool.
break and we'll get back into it. Balloon Pros, if you haven't stocked up yet, now's the time. Having a Party Wholesale just launched something big. Anagram latex balloons are here. You already trust Anagram foils, and now their high-quality latex is ready to take your designs to the next level. And I have a new code for you. Get 5% off orders over $200 using the code PODCAST at checkout. Don't miss out on the latest and greatest in balloons. Shop now at havenaparty.com and keep creating those amazing installs with the best supplies in the industry. All right, welcome back. And I do want to say at the end, if you're listening, hang in there because we're going to talk about all the things you guys have coming up where people can learn from you or meet you in person. You have quite the year planned, it sounds like.
And I think you and I, Sarah, have talked about it before, like 5 years ago when we were like, we become teachers. That's the goal, right?
Yeah,
And I think even 5 years now, like I feel the same way. Show your talent, show these things, and like and be able to like give back to the community too, right? Like I think that's for me is a part of it. Like I do think I got a lot of knowledge being a pre-COVID like person. So because all I learned was classic.
yeah.
So I have this really great classic like base knowledge that I feel like people are missing. So when I teach, generally it's super classic. Like I'm not teaching organic probably ever. It's always a very classic take on
But
things.
it's like through a kaleidoscope. Jenny's method is classic through a kaleidoscope because you can see something be very basic, like square packs, but then she pulls it into this very creative realm of seeing like colors in different ways and adding different little flourishments to things. And really, when I see things that she creates for her classes, I'm like, oh, she sees classic through a kaleidoscope. She makes it like more beautiful, more vibrant, more colorful, like better and better and better.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, the best compliment I've ever received is from Marlene Potts, and she goes, "Oh, that's so Jenny Porter of you." And I was like, so now I'm like a verb. So like this is the best.
It's funny. Well,
I think
when
something else that we like definitely do align on is our kind of passion for giving back to the
Yeah.
industry and educating in the industry. I have just this really weird, wonderful passion for just helping other people because I think it was such a slog when I was trying to start the business and
Mhm.
self-taught and just the pain. It was really like painful to to try to learn things when I started. And I don't want people to have the same pain points. So I just feel kind of called to helping.
Yeah.
So being an instructor does that.
And when you
Yeah.
are like instructing at an actual convention, if how do you guys arrange this? Do you try to go to the same conventions? Is it just like if you're there, you'll help each other? Do you ever feel like, if you're sponsored by a brand but the other person isn't, that you're like you shouldn't be helping? Like what, like how do you guys support each other in person at
That's actually
events?
that's a great question. Because well, and I think most people know that like kind of I go towards Tough Techs. I have a really great relationship with
Mm-hmm.
Tough Techs. Bri has a really great relationship with Vitalik. Does it cross over? Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I think those two brands are fantastic in letting you have the crossover. So last October. So Bree was teaching it for Burton and Burton in October of last year, and she asked me to come help her teach
I said,
this
will you come be my
my
assistant?
person. And it was like an 8 hour day
Yeah. I taught for 8 straight hours at
by
Burton
her
Burton
by
by
herself.
myself.
And it was like on it. I think for some people it'd be really difficult to take that step back and not be in the limelight. But for me, I was like, yeah, man, let's go. And seeing somewhere new for me, I love that. Um, and helping my friend. At the end of the day, it's so much more important to me to lift my friends up than to bring them down. I would never, I like to say, I would never put someone in a position lesser than what I can earn.
Mhm.
I think it's so amazing to be able to help someone become their best self. And I think like a teacher, and I think that was the key for us that day. Bree had a very packed day. There was like she had 5 things that she wanted.
Five design. Yeah, it was
Five designs.
ambitious.
It was ambitious.
It was ambitious. It was great.
It was fantastic. But I as an instructor, I already knew where she needed to be an hour from now. So, and as an instructor, the last thing you want to do is touch balloons that day, right? Like you want to show people and do, but you don't want to be like, oh, let me blow up these 13 balloons that I forgot to blow up.
Yeah, and then
Like,
it's like awkward silence while you
oh
just
my
like
God.
sit
Yeah.
there
And
and
you
you're
lose
like
them.
it's
Yeah.
never taken longer to inflate a duplet in your life and you're just
Yeah,
like
Honestly.
it's
yeah.
like
And
never
as an
ending.
instructor, you lose the momentum within the class. So it's a start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. So it was like Jenny knew what I was going to be doing next. And I literally could reach my hand out and there would be a bag of balloons in my hand.
Mm.
So she knew the flow and I'm very organized. So she knew exactly what I was going to be doing and when I was going to be doing it. So it was like she was always 2 plays ahead.
Well, and reducing anxiety too, right? Like
Right.
when you're teaching for that first time by yourself, like you're going somewhere, you're alone. That's so nerve-wracking. You don't know who's in the room. And for Bree, the owner of Vitalik is there. Like,
The president, yeah, David was
Yeah.
there.
so like those are
That
big
that can be
deals.
the hardest part too, because sometimes like we were talking about, there's like these unwritten rules, or maybe there aren't, but you think there are, and you're like, I don't
Yes.
know if they're like assessing me. Like I don't know. It's like you kind of have this like handler that you're just like, I don't really know what to do here because I've never done this before. And having a friend would be so nice.
Yeah. So essentially, when we say we do it all for different reasons. That trip, I was able to kind of take the stipend of what I got, and I was able to have Jenny come, and it was a financial like wash, but the experience was unbelievable. And I was able to learn so much from Jenny while she was helping to support me. And we were able to have a wonderful experience with Burton and Burton. If you have an opportunity to go to one of their classes or to go there for anything, 100% highly recommend it. Put it at the top of your list. They're exceptional.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
are actually, you know what, they're on my bucket list. I have never been to Balloon University.
Oh,
And
Oh,
me too.
but that's
I'll
like
see you there.
that's like
See you
5 years, right?
I will not miss it. I don't know when it is.
2027.
2027.
No.
See you there. I'll
Yeah,
be there. I'll be in the front row just waiting.
Yeah.
that's definitely one of those I want to get to.
Like,
Yeah, we got to meet Maxine and the team there is just
and we walked through that hall of like photos.
It was, oh my gosh, it was like the Balloon University photos from like 40 years ago
Like
Wow.
the coolest crap.
when the industry first started to
Well,
break
and isn't it
through.
fun to have a friend with you when you see stuff like that? It's like your husband doesn't care. Your kids aren't going to be like, "Oh my gosh, that's the first balloon arch." Like they don't care. That stuff's
They
all
don't
fun to
care.
us, you know?
Yeah, it's so, so true.
Yeah,
So true.
I think there's so much to gain helping someone as there is being in the limelight. I think um often we all want to shine, but sometimes it's nice to just take that step back because you're still meeting all the same people and you're doing all the same things. And if you can still support somebody and do those things, I think there's value in your heart for it. And it really just makes you a better person, right? Like to be able to go back and forth. And I say that for everything. Like I love sitting in classes. Like
And I think that's our approach, where Jenny and I are like again, is that if we see something that's great, we tell people they're great. Like I think that is so important. There's this like unspoken competition with some people in some areas. I really try to like stay away from all of that because
Mm,
it just doesn't align with me and my values. But what does is that I see someone that does something cool and I'm like, that is awesome.
yeah.
Like you killed that. And maybe
I
that's
know.
part
I
of the
have started
instructor
trying
thing,
to. It'll be something where I'm like, "Wait, this is like incredible," and it has like 30 likes and no comments. Like, I'll be the
right?
comment. I'll be the one fangirling over this. Like, this is so cool. I'm
Absolutely.
way more, I don't know if I'm always just rooting for the underdog too, but I'm way more likely to like fangirl over people like that than someone who's like, I already have 10,000 likes and they already have
me too.
all the comments. Like, I want to lift up people who, they're probably like, cool. I don't even feel like posting anymore because I get no interaction, no kudos, no one cares. But yeah, it's
It's
fun to
such
be
a our
encourager.
world is a funny world, and even when people are like, "Oh, Jenny, I'm so glad. I can't wait to learn from you." In my head, I'm like, nobody's coming to my class.
Oh,
Like
100%.
always, always. I'm like, it's fine. Nobody's coming.
Yeah. I'm just like, no,
Like
yeah. I have nothing to
we're all
offer,
just
nothing to
people.
teach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I met Tommy DiLorenzo for the first time, and like he smiled and like we had a full conversation, and I left, and I was like, I can't believe that man just talked to me.
I
Like
know.
it's like they're at the end of the day, everybody's just a person. Like
Yeah.
we just forget. Like the Bloom world's so weird, but awesome. And I just love that about it, that there's so many opportunities. And I'd say for friendship wise, it's so lucky that you can have friends that get what you're doing. Like I can't call my friends at home and be like, hey, like, do you want to talk about this? They're like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, hard pass.
Even with like my family, I feel like sometimes I turn into a bit of a martyr. Like, oh, how's business? I'm like, so busy. Oh my gosh, I have all this stuff. And it's like I try to explain how crazy it is, and then I just sound crazy and whiny. But like with balloon people, it's like you don't even have to explain. They know that everything's insane and on
Yes.
fire all the time. And you can almost like cut past that because you don't like, for me, it's like I'm not trying to prove anything to balloon people because like I know they get it. So you can almost just like crack up and laugh about things. You're like, like when
Absolutely.
something went
Yes.
so wrong and then
So
all you can
wrong.
do is like crack up about it because you're just like, I'm living in a literal hell and
Yeah.
no one's gonna understand the stress of this?
It's like the perfect example to me is it's texting one of your balloon friends and like, how was your morning? Knowing that it's like a Saturday morning. How did your morning go? Knowing that they were working on a Saturday morning because we all are. And they write back and they're like, well, started my morning chasing a 36-inch balloon down the highway.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, you know exactly where they were, how they were feeling, what that situation was like, that the balloon was bouncing up and down. They were trying to catch it and it was evasive. Like, you know that
Right.
exact situation.
Like, well, first I got the call from a client asking where I was, and I had no information about that job on my calendar. And then I had to inflate orbs, and they all popped. And like a normal person would be like, I don't know any of the words you're saying right now.
So great though that I could call another country and get the validation that I
Yeah,
need
a
Right.
hundred
to
percent.
know that I'm not alone.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I have
And
an
like,
all foil install outside. It's like, say no more.
Yeah, I'll pray for you.
I'll
yeah,
be
like
praying
can
for
you
you.
can you be on standby at this time in case everything goes
in case everything goes.
like,
Oh,
please,
that's so
so I
funny.
can call you and say, please help.
Okay, let's switch gears and I want to talk about how you guys work together in like a professional setting on the job because you've done that a couple times. Jenny, you're helping me out this month for my biggest job. You're coming down. And I think that that is an interesting dynamic when you're both professionals working on a job. Bri, how does that work in terms of like hiring? You already have a big staff. When do you feel like you need to bring in a hired gun like Jenny?
Yeah, so a lot of people will, the more experience that they have, they'll find their specialties. So they'll have things that they're really, really good at. And so usually when I'm hiring out, I'll always hire for a weakness on that job. So
Mm,
sometimes I'm in a situation where I need to, the ILEA event was a really good event to use as an example. So the International Live Events Association had this, they have an annual gala, and I was on the board for that, on the committee for that, but we had a really big build. It was Wizard of Oz. We had like a lot to take care of. There were four different spaces. It was a walkthrough. So we had our core team, but then I had some builds that we just weren't capable of
mm.
with all of the other things that we needed to do. So I subcontracted four other balloon companies to come support. So the first day they were just helping to inflate. And then the second day they were helping to, design, put things together because it was 100% on-site build. So I also was a board member. So I had to help run the entire
Oh
event.
gosh.
So I was split into two. So what I really needed was help with leadership on site and making sure everything was going the way that it needed to go. And kind of I needed another Bri. We also had a film crew there filming the entire thing and interviewing myself and the rest of the team for that. So it was like, how much can I do in one day? How many
Yeah.
Bris do we need? Um, but I think that that's definitely something to consider if you're going to hire another balloon company or hire out is what is going to be the weakness? What's the weak link for you as the leader and the owner of that company that day? And then go to that next route. We had Meg Coleman from 365, who's amazing. And I was like, I just need you to build a hot air balloon. And she's like,
Hmm.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, what balloons do you need? She sent me the design, and I was like, great, you'll have one or two people helping you with that design. You got this.
And that's how you do it, kind of, Sarah, too, is that you pick,
Hmm.
like, I think people ask me all the time what the difference between your, I don't want to call it a build, but it's kind of a build,
Yeah.
yours versus the big balloon build. How come Sarah can do her build with 14 people, but it takes 100, like 80 people to do the big balloon
Hmm.
build? And I said, here's the exact difference. Sarah picks people that have the skill set to do it quickly. She knows exactly what she's getting, because she knows what they're capable of. She can say, here's a recipe that I did, go. And that person has the critical thinking to be like, this isn't working. I'm going to change it. There's no questions because you've obviously picked us because you trust us and you just do.
Yeah.
And when you're on a big build, a lot of these people are brand new or have limited skills and maybe they've never read a recipe before. So there's so
Mm.
much time answering questions that it's just a different model. So I think the great thing is when you're picking people based on the skills you know they have, the capabilities of critical thinking, asking the right questions.
So if
Oh,
anyone's
okay, cool.
listening and you're like, I have no idea what she's talking about, go to my stories on Wisconsin Balloon Decor and you can follow us along. Basically, I have a really, really large job, and it is a job. So I
Job.
am
That's it.
hired. The budget is ginormous because I priced it out accordingly. And in order to do something on that scale, I'm not an expert, but the way I hired was everybody coming has either my skill level or more. Like I think I added up, we have like 200 years of experience
Yeah.
between the 10 of us, 10, 15. So it's tons and tons of knowledge. And I think the biggest difference between the big balloon build is like people are signing up to learn. And here I'm like,
Yes.
I'm not guaranteeing you anything. No one is here to learn. I'm not being like, oh, hey, you've never done this before. Go work with that person so you can learn how. I'm like,
Mhm.
no. You are here for a job. You're paid to work. So if you know how to do
Yes.
this thing, we're going to bang it out and you're going to be on. I think we all still have a really good time, but
Oh, it's the best time.
it's
Yeah.
like I'm expecting people to, you know, be better
Work.
than me and figure
Oh my
things
God.
out.
Yeah, work as fast and as hard as you would at home, but do it here. I think I love the best that you pick the people that is Gary. You pick Gary because you know that the king of rigging, and you're gonna be like, yes, he's gonna do that. Jenny, you're gonna do classic decor. Nikki, you're gonna do this. Like, and it's there's that trust, and it's like here's a sketchy like recipe that may or may not work. But I love like on one of them you wrote like don't overthink this, right? Like I think last year we did, right? We wanted to be perfect for you because it's your job and we want it to be perfect, but at the same time, let's work fast, let's work hard, and let's get it done. So we can still enjoy the fun of being in Lake Geneva. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me this year, my perspective has certainly changed. Like last year, the top priority was the build has to look awesome. And then I hope we get to have fun. This year, it's like, I want us to have fun as the top priority because I know the build's going to look awesome. Because, like, we lost Tommy this year. He was there last year and he's not there this year. So for me, I'm like,
Yeah.
that was a huge wake up call of like, we might never all be together again. We might never get to do this really cool once in a lifetime thing. So let's at least have a good time. Um, but I think a lot has to do with, yeah, the team that you build and having the confidence in them to come up with better solutions than I could have come up with on my own. Like I don't need that credit. Like I'm gonna get all the credit. I'm gonna get like everyone's gonna be like, wow, this is amazing. So I don't need like, oh, I figured out how to do that little cottage. Like, no, I didn't. Jenny and Gary came up with a better plan and came up with the Wizard of Oz cottage. And I was like, fine, that's way better idea. I don't need credit on every single design.
Yeah, I taught a class through a loft in September, I believe, and
nice.
it was called Coaching Your Crew, how to
Mm,
coach your crew. And I went through the different types of like partnerships that you can have, and whether it is having an employee, hiring an employee, then going to the next stage of having subcontractors, and then going to the next stage of hiring on other balloon businesses and balloon companies. And some of the just standards that you need to set, and some of the things that you need to understand when you're working for another balloon business, that is like the highest compliment you can get, number one. But number two, you need to do what they do. So you have to, if they build an organic a certain way, they have an identity within that design.
and that's not the time to try to explain why your way is better. I think
No,
that's the biggest thing.
absolutely not.
I think
Absolutely
people
not.
try to like assert themselves sometimes in the wrong situation. It's like
Agreed.
your way might be better, but this isn't the time to prove that, you know? And I think you guys definitely have
No.
a good read on
You
that.
need like the customer to be like, that's what I paid for. That's what I
Right.
saw in a photo.
Right. And that's why you're there. You were hired
Hmm.
to be there to do just that. So I don't think that there can be a lot of ego that you carry into those situations, but I do think that there can be a lot of like graciousness and appreciation that you were chosen and given these opportunities to
Yeah.
be there and have these experiences as well.
Like for Bri and I, we just meshed well together because like get it. So I know what she needs. I do it.
But also, I have I have clinical anxiety. Me going and teaching at these things is an extremely difficult challenge that I give myself. I've wanted to grow through these opportunities. Jenny had the pleasure of sharing a room with me, and in the mornings, and I'll say this right now, and people are going to be like, "Oh my gosh," they're going to gasp. In the mornings before I teach, I am sick and I'm vomiting all morning from my nerves.
Really? I
And
thought you were going to say you
yeah,
do like naked yoga or something. I was like,
no,
oh, Jenny, quite the roommate
no,
selection.
no, I'm so anxious and I put so much into it and it means so much to me that I literally work myself up and make myself sick about it. And I was like, Jenny, like tomorrow morning, it might, here's what happens. You're gonna hear it. And she, the morning comes and she's like, you okay in there, buddy? I'm like, it's just that. No problem. But those are the things that like we see it all as nice and shiny and well put together package when people are instructing, but there's a lot that's before it. And when you have a friend that can be there with you and not judge you for it and support you in it, it's nothing short of a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take one final break and then we're going to skip our final questions because you've both answered them before. And I want to talk about some events you have coming up and a special project. You guys can leave some breadcrumbs that we're going to announce at the end of the
Perfect.
month. Balloon Pros, if you've been putting off your website because you're too busy inflating, installing, or making magic for your clients, you're not alone. I know so many of you have been stuck between DIYing your site, struggling with templates that don't quite fit, or feeling like a fully custom website is out of reach. That's where Courtney Lynette Creative Co. comes in. Courtney is a web designer who has worked with tons of balloon stylists, and she gets the unique needs of your business. She's created Website in a Day, a streamlined process that gives you a high-end, custom quality website and branding without the stress or high cost. In just one day, you'll walk away with a beautiful, strategic website designed to help you book more clients, showcase your work, and stand out in a crowded market. Plus, branding is included, so your entire online presence looks polished and professional from top to bottom. And because you're a Bright Balloon listener, you can get $100 off your Website in a Day package. Just mention the podcast when you book. Don't wait another season to get your website working for you. Head to CourtneyLynette.com/bright-balloon to learn more, or click the link in the show notes wherever you're listening. All right, welcome back. We've talked a lot about instructing. And you guys each kind of either together or individually, you have some dates coming up or events that you're going to be involved in. Do you want to promote some of those so that people can potentially come and learn from you?
You're there first.
Yeah, I have Heiko St. Louis. So I'll be there with Vitalik doing a full 7 or 8 hour day. That's going to be April 9th. I'm very excited to go there. And then I will also be at the Balloonathon in June, and that is in Chicago. And I will be running the decor team again and moderating both of the panels.
You are doing your own classes too, Bri, which I think is interesting. You're producing it
Awesome.
on your own.
Yeah, yeah. So that is something that I started to do. Lauren, who is the lead designer at Elevated Impressions, she had a goal of wanting to teach a class. And we started working with Star Points a few years ago and just kind of like mastered them pretty quickly and built some really, really cool like chandeliers and backdrops and domes. And so we started just two classes. We started with two classes doing these star points. And it's not a long-term goal to be doing these individual classes, but
Hmm.
I've been asked by hundreds of people how to do certain things with these star points.
Yeah, it's
And
easier to have a class.
honestly, it's just easier at this point to have a class.
Hmm.
And they've been wonderful. They've been great. And yeah, we'll do maybe two more this year to get people kind of more familiar now that Deco Champ, sorry, yeah, Deco Champ is making these.
Oh yeah, right. Because for a while we couldn't get the star points.
Exactly. So Deco Champ is making the star points now and they're more accessible. So yeah, more
Oh,
people
so
can build
good.
with them. Excited about
Well,
it.
The class is so good.
Jenny, how
Uh,
about you? Do you have any events coming up?
well, I when this airs, we'll be at your job. So I'm doing that, which I'm really excited about. I've got a countdown. And then in July is Tough Text Experience,
Hmm.
which I'm really excited about. So I'm
Are
one of
you?
the like
What is your role there?
it's like I think it's like just a general instructor. So
Okay.
I'm teaching two classes twice. So I'm teaching Duplicate Rainbow, I think, and Square Pack, and like just super classic, twisted classic stuff.
Okay.
The thing I love about Tough Text is they always like the themes are always just like different because they love that like
The
Instagrammable.
social, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
excited. I'm going this year and I'm excited to
yeah,
be
it's
there.
super like it. So that's just me, right? Like I love that about it that it doesn't have to be like boring. So I'm excited about that. And then I will be that's my big one this year. And then I have it's announced I think at the end of February is I'll be at Float instructing at Float.
All right. Well, Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to see you at those events. Real quick before we wrap up, we can't really talk much about it because that's kind of the big unveiling at the end of this month. You're working on a project together. Can you give us any hints?
Yeah. Um, I saw a need in the industry for a tool for business owners. And I am sometimes so type A and so corporate that I'm not able to make things digestible for small business owners and for the balloon industry. I see things very almost like strictly. So I needed some help with the creation of this product, this tool, I'll call it. And I needed some help just with the organization of it. And Jenny really is the perfect person for it. So I called her and I said, I've got this idea. Number one, just tell me if I'm crazy. And she's like, I actually think this is a really good idea, Bri. And I was like, okay, but you got to tell me because I know that you're going to encourage me, but you got to tell me if this is something that you truly believe in. And she said, I truly believe in it. And I said, okay, my next question is, do you want to partner with me on it? And she said, I will literally do anything with you.
Yeah.
So we have this
I
product.
think on two different levels. Bree's nickname is Busy Bree because she's all business Bree. She's got the business bun, the business. She just is like
It's
all
where she keeps
business.
all her secrets
Yeah,
in the bun.
Whereas like I just don't think like that. I think it'll be really fun for us to work on a project that will benefit the balloon industry. I think it's something that's really needed in the balloon industry. And I especially think yourself will love it. I think it's something you think about often, Sarah. And just I feel lucky to be able to work with her on a project that's so cool.
and it's going to lead to more. So now
Cool.
we're seeing things that don't currently exist. I hate to talk so like ambiguously about
No, I mean,
things.
and you're
Like
gonna do a
it's
whole release in 2 weeks. You're gonna do an episode about this thing.
right.
But it's kind of cool. It's another area where you guys are supporting each other. So, friendship on the job,
Yeah.
support when you teach support, and now almost like
Yeah.
coworker.
Partners, yeah.
How do you remember, Sarah, that the instructors of the past and people, they said the best instructors always have something to sell.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
look at Chris Adamo and he's got Balloon Pro, right? You look at Dante, he's got his like sizers. Like there's someone's always like giving that tool with what they're teaching. And I think that there's so much to that to be able to offer a little bit of substance with your actual balloon decor. There's more to just building the balloons. You got to have the tools.
Especially if you're a business owner. You have to know how to run and support your business if you're going to have a business. So
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to learn more. Next week, Bree, you're in the hot seat with Ask Me Anything episode. So your month
can't wait.
continues, and then we'll have the big release of your new product. So thank you so much for joining us
Thanks,
again,
Sarah.
and
Thank you, Sarah.
have fun on the rest of your family vacation in
Thank
Canada.
you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.